Polar bears hunt across the frozen sea through strength and careful calculation. When facing rivals competing for food, they can turn sheer size into an unmistakable warning. Within the Arctic food chain, they remain a symbol of top-tier power. Every heavy footprint marks the beginning of another search for survival. So what prey can truly escape when the ice itself becomes part of their advantage? The polar bear is the quiet ruler of the frozen Arctic. With a thick layer of fat, translucent fur, and broad paws, it is adapted to survive some of the harshest cold conditions on Earth. It hunts through patience, an exceptional sense of smell, and the ability to wait for the right moment. Every attack is shaped by a combination of strength, instinct, and survival experience. Yet, behind that powerful presence lies an increasing challenge as the icy world surrounding it continues to change. Small breathing holes in the ice form a fragile boundary between the sealed ocean below and the open air above. They are created as seals maintain openings in the frozen surface for breathing, resting, or caring for their young inside sheltered snow chambers. For ringed seals, bearded seals, and several Arctic species, these breathing points become essential pathways through the long white winter. But for the polar bear, they are also places of opportunity. With an exceptionally powerful sense of smell, it can detect the scent of prey or snow dens from more than a mile away. Rather than wasting energy through constant movement, the bear waits silently beside a breathing hole, patient enough to appear like part of the ice itself. When a seal surfaces, the opportunity lasts only a few seconds. The bear must react with speed and precision before the water becomes still again. Even so, hunting success rates often remain below 30%, turning every hour of waiting into a demanding calculation of survival. At other times, when seals rest on drifting ice, the hunt becomes a test of distance and timing. The bear lowers its body and circles downwind to avoid revealing its scent. Once in the water, its broad paws work like powerful paddles, driving the animal through freezing currents with steady force. If the seal detects the approach too early, the opportunity vanishes immediately. But when the distance closes enough, a single brief and carefully timed advance can provide the high-energy meal needed to sustain the bear for days. As winter tightens its grip on the Arctic, the distance between nourishment and exhaustion can sometimes depend on a single food source on the ice. Polar bears are naturally solitary, traveling across vast frozen seas in search of seals. But when prey becomes scarce, a productive ice edge, A limited food source or the breeding season can draw several individuals into the same area. An encounter between two bears rarely begins with chaos. At first, they move slowly, watch one another exchange warning signals, and test each other's reactions. When an adult male rises onto his hind legs, he can stand nearly 12 feet tall. As tension increases, shoulder shoves, paw strikes, and body weight become ways of establishing position and influence. But in this frozen environment, direct confrontation always comes at a cost. Many encounters end with grappling testing strength, and one bear eventually backing away. The individual that retreats may lose access to food or a breeding opportunity, but it preserves the energy needed to continue its journey across the ice. For a mother bear, the calculation is even harsher. When a male approaches, the objective is not to win, but to create enough distance for her cubs to move away from danger. Even a few seconds of delay can alter the outcome. In this Arctic world, strength is not used only for hunting. It is also a tool for negotiation, protecting opportunity, and avoiding the loss of precious energy. Encounters between gray wolves and polar bears rarely begin with confrontation. They begin with observation. The pack moves low, across open ground. Reading tracks wind direction, and the scent of leftover food carried over long distances. An adult gray wolf typically weighs around 140 pounds, making it far smaller than a polar bear. Because of that difference, the wiser strategy is not to challenge the larger predator, but to maintain a careful distance and avoid unnecessary risk. While the bear remains nearby, the wolves often circle along the outer edge of safety, waiting for conditions to shift. Only after the bear has fed or moved away do they approach. The remaining scraps become a valuable source of energy, helping sustain the pack through the harsh Arctic season. Belugas are often called the white ghosts of the northern seas. A full-grown individual can reach around 18 feet in length and weigh more than 2,200 pounds. They are protected by a thick layer of blubber and a highly refined ability to navigate beneath the ice. Yet, despite living in the ocean, belugas remain mammals. The need to breathe repeatedly brings them back to the rare openings in the frozen surface, where a basic survival instinct can sometimes become a vulnerability. When the sea freezes over, the water is sealed beneath layers of ice several feet thick. The polar bear does not depend on long pursuits. Instead, it stands quietly within the endless white landscape. For hours, it can remain almost completely motionless, waiting for a beluga to surface for air. That opportunity lasts only a few seconds, but it can alter the entire balance of the encounter. By summer, conditions shift once again. Open water expands, giving belugas much more space to move away from danger. The bear, loses the advantage created by narrow breathing holes and must travel carefully along rocky shorelines, waiting for belugas to enter shallow water with the movement of the tide. Rushed approaches rarely succeed. The opportunity belongs to the one patient enough to read the sea, the distance, and the timing. Because of that, hunting belugas is not simply a contest between strength and agility. Here, the seasons themselves and sometimes a single breath help shape survival. In the Arctic, endurance and intelligence often determine who prevails. If the polar bear represents power on the ice, the walrus represents sheer mass along the edge of the Arctic Ocean. An adult male polar bear can weigh more than 1,200 pounds, surviving through patience and hunting skill. But before it stands a very different challenge: a massive body. Thick skin and tusks that can grow nearly 3 feet long. Large walruses can even weigh twice as much as a polar bear. Encounters between them are not constant battles, but moments shaped by hunger and timing. After days without finding food, a polar bear moves slowly along the frozen shoreline. Ahead lies a crowded walrus colony, packed together like living fortresses between the sand-broken ice and the edge of the sea. When danger is detected, the group quickly pushes toward the water. Once in the ocean, the advantage belongs almost entirely to the walruses. Because of that, the bear's opportunity exists only during the brief confusion between shore and waves. Young, weaker, or slower individuals are sometimes separated from the protection of the group. The bear must choose the right target and close the distance with speed and precision. Even then, success is never guaranteed. Against a large walrus colony, every advance carries risk. In the Arctic, survival does not always belong to the strongest, but to the one capable of recognizing the exact moment when danger becomes opportunity. Across the vast tundra, beneath a cold gray sky, caribou stand as symbols of northern endurance. They follow the seasons across hundreds and sometimes thousands of miles, crossing grasslands, wetlands, and freezing rivers. An adult can weigh more than 310 pounds and sprint at around 60 miles per hour when escaping danger. In this open landscape, speed and herd unity remain their most reliable defense. For the polar bear, caribou are not a primary food source. Its large, heavy body is not designed for prolonged chases on land. Instead of wasting energy in pursuit, the bear must read the terrain, the wind, and the movement of the herd. Opportunity appears only when a young, weaker, or slower individual becomes separated, or when soft mud and the water's edge reduce the advantage of speed. When the distance closes enough, the bear can accelerate in a short burst, reaching about 26 miles per hour. From that point, the encounter unfolds quickly. Heavy footsteps strike the tundra, dust rises into the air. The herd breaks apart, and every decision is measured in seconds. If the target preserves enough open space, the opportunity vanishes almost as quickly as it appeared. One successful attempt can provide valuable energy before the harsh ice season arrives. But on the tundra, the lesson is not about absolute music strength. It lies in waiting for the right moment, adjusting strategy, and adapting to the demands of each cold season. The polar bear concludes the hunt through relentless survival instinct. It relies not only on strength, but also on the ability to turn ice and snow into an advantage. In the Arctic, survival belongs to those that understand the demands of a harsh environment. If you want to continue exploring the natural world, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Across the endless white expanse, massive tracks continue leading toward the next hunt.